Hello Leo, welcome to March 2018. Thank you so much for being here. Let's talk a little bit about the sky, but mostly I want to talk about the reading. To be honest with you, I feel like this month you're going to really have to own the true desires of your heart. And you're going to have to really recognize what that is. We have Jupiter going retrograde in Scorpio, which is happening in your 4th house. And 4th house is a big deal, right? It's a big house because it's part of your cardinal cross. And it does have a lot to do with your value systems. It has a lot to do with your own spirituality. I'm calling this the detoxification retrograde, where we are finally able to detoxify our lives. And there's confusion here, though, because it's connected with Neptune in Pisces and Pluto in Capricorn. Okay, there's positive aspects there, which is great, but Neptune does kind of confuse things or make things seem illusionary, but I think you're going to be able to use that to your benefit. I feel you have this very deep-rooted connection with someone. Maybe even you may describe it as feeling karmic on some level. Someone or something. It doesn't have to be a person per se. I usually talk about it in terms of people because I think the majority of people here are here for romance, but it doesn't have to be that, you know. And yet I do think that this person or this situation is actually hurting you and not really giving you what you want, but yet you might need some kind of validation, or it does kind of stroke your ego a little bit. And by having this thing, it makes you feel like you've accomplished something, like you've earned something, you know, and that you deserve something good, right? But there is something about this Jupiter retrograde that is kind of elevating you above the situation and kind of allowing you to see reality as not necessarily reality, but really putting it in touch, you know, putting it in the realm of illusion. Okay, Neptune, illusion, all right? And realizing that you actually do have control over it and you can manifest something that is more satisfying, right, on a more spiritual level. You come in contact with your duality this month. You know, you're kind of understanding what that duality nature, what that truly is inside of you. I kind of, the Leo-Scorpio connection is like the fire and water, right? So there is a lot of attention on that water part of you kind of overshadowing the fire part of you. And that's kind of, I think, where that duality aspect comes from. In the comprehensive readings, you know, I did the free comprehensive readings last month, and I had such amazing feedback. And I'm going to say this in every video, so sorry if you're watching multiple videos, but I talk about how people have expressed that it gave them a lot of clarity. You know, so I can do the 12 cards that I pull out normally for general, but we go into so much more detail that it allows people to feel more sure about what they're feeling, to feel more sure about their intuition, and to sort of give them that sort of confirmation, so to speak. You know, I do go through, at the end of the reading, we've got 2 nights that came out, and I do talk about each of the nights and really which path you're really on and which path you're kind of inevitably going to choose. And I think that it will help the decision to be a little bit easier for you when it comes, okay? So let's go ahead and, you know what, I want to read this. I put this in my notes. Let me read this because this was so beautiful. Embrace your newfound awareness and you will find others that are operating on your wavelength. They see the world the way you do and you find happiness here. Okay, so with that said, let's go ahead and get into the reading. All right? Thanks so much, Leo. Take care. Hello, Leo. Let's go ahead and get started. We had the 2 of Pentacles come out on top of the Chariot like this. Okay, so I'm going to place them like this. But let's talk for a minute. Solar eclipse in Aquarius on the 15th. Your sign just had the lunar eclipse on the 31st of January. When we're dealing with energies that are opposite of our own, it does tend to bring out the duality in us. Here we have 2 cards of duality. Left versus right, up versus down. Black versus white, love versus power, light versus dark, for the parts of ourselves, the sun versus the moon, you know? And I feel as though you seem to be aligning with a life path. And it's pretty severe. It's pretty intense. You seem to be connecting with your awareness. You seem to be understanding this concept of manifestation, this concept of mentalism and alchemy, right? Being able to adjust your frequency to attract certain things. Okay, we call it law of attraction, that's fine. You seem to be getting a hang of it. And it's not necessarily for the sake of manifesting things to you and getting things and getting relationships and getting new jobs or whatever. It's not about the having of those things. It's about the power that you have to create those things. And I think you're coming in contact with a genuine understanding of that. And while Leo is very much about the self, individual self-expression, individual creativity, it's about who I am and letting the world know who I am. But where does this sense of self fit in the greater scheme? That's the Aquarius theme, right? Who am I, Leo, and how can I help, Aquarius? And that maybe not help, but how do I contribute? And I feel like there is this sense of control about Leo right now, where there is balance in parts of your life that maybe haven't seen balance in a long time, or there is collaboration, you with other people and you within individual areas of your life. And while you may feel like all these different parts of your life are demanding your attention, your friends, your romantic partners, your job, your free time, your yoga, your all the hobbies you like to do, they're all demanding a piece of you, but you seem to be putting those things in their place and recognizing them for what they really are. And what I mean by that is you're recognizing your individual place in the collective conscious. And I think too you are realizing and seeing deadness in other people. You look at them, you meet them, and they're so focused on money, they're so focused on romance, they're so focused on like these worldly things, these things that, to no fault of their own, they have been taught that it's important for them. It's important for them to care about it. It's important for them to have these things. But you look at them and you think how silly it is that you're so worried about those things, when how great it would be if we would all come together and worry about the goodness of humanity, right? And that's kind of that duality going on within Leo and Aquarius, and I think Aquarius is going to have a similar message. It's directly related to you. And it is unstoppable because, you know, the world needs Leo. You provide sunlight. You are the light through which we can live. And so we need you. And Aquarius is nothing without you because you are its opposite pole. You create its other half, so to speak, right? And so everything that you have learned over the course of the past few months, or, you know, really since the last eclipses in August. And it's a continuing story. It's not going to end this month because we have more eclipses in August or July. Yeah, July and August. So it's not completely over, of course. But you are the driver of this shift of consciousness. And it's also, you know, we can't forget we are in the age of Aquarius now, and you, Leo, represent the golden age. And the age of Aquarius is the age in which propels us in that direction, right? We're coming out of the dark ages, heading back to the golden age, the age of Leo, the time when consciousness was as good as it gets, however we imagine that to be, and the time when humans truly understood their true abilities. And so the rest of the zodiac is looking to Leo and Aquarius, but is looking to Leo as the end game. So you kind of have to lead by example. You know what I mean? You have to lead by example. Oh, such a huge reading. That was really intense. I might want to turn the camera off right now. Okay. I think that's the eclipse right there, to be honest with you. It's a sharp pivot. You know, it's a sharp change, sharp way of thinking. Six of Coins is a card of generosity. It is a card. Let's not, you know, why not credit this with an Aquarian theme, right? The caring of humanity. The way the universe takes care of us, we must take care of each other, right? As above, so below. The minute we start taking care of each other, the minute the universe will really start taking care of all of us as a whole, right? And I think that your your generous spirit, your charitable spirit, is really going to be coming to light over the next few years with this Saturn transit in your 6th house, right? 6th house is ruled by Virgo. And Virgo, like a famous Virgo, is Mother Teresa. And I always kind of look to Mother Teresa, as I'm a Virgo. I always look to her as kind of a shining example of all of the positive qualities about that sign. Someone who is very selfless, and who has perfected the art of service and perfected the art of giving, and who knows that the more she gives, the more she gets, and understands the flow, that without the outflow, we cannot have the inflow, right? It's kind of that masculine and feminine concept. Without the giving, there can be no receiving. And without receiving, there can be no giving. They work together. It's duality and gender at its finest, okay? And here we have this shift, this pivot moment in your life. This may be an event of some kind, right? It may be someone does something. It may be something happens in your life. But I think what it really is more of a shift in your consciousness and your awareness and your shift in mindset. And you being so resilient, right? Fire signs are always like, no problem. I can handle adversary, no problem. They just bounce back. It's crazy. I wish I had that quality, but my Scorpio moon is like, no, you're going to be sad about it forever. but yeah, so it's like that. Okay, you deal with it. It comes in, and you just get over it, and you just move on. And I will clarify that too with the comprehensive, what that will be, if we don't get an indication of that with the cards that come out. But you can never go backwards. Right? You can never go backwards. You can only go forward from this point. You can only rebuild from that point. Now, Tower in reverse I often see as a more mild card, so it's not this huge dramatic thing, but it could be dramatic for some of you. But with this card demands some kind of action. It is a card ruled by Mars. Okay, a lot of people can see it as being a Uranian quality, something random that comes in. But no, it's a card that it's like the breaking point because you haven't been acting, you haven't been doing something. And now you are being pushed to do something about your situation, all right? And with your new kind of magical mindset, whatever it is that's going on with Leo, this new magical mindset of yours is putting you in a position of great power, okay? So let's see. What else comes out for Leo? Oh, Leo. All that talk about having that new awareness and whatever, and yet there still seems to be a lot of fear about it. I'm wondering if you're afraid a lot of kind of the responsibility that people have placed on you. You might be afraid of loss, right? You don't want to give because you're afraid or fearful that you won't receive. Especially in romantic relationships, right, where you are afraid to put too much on the table, because if you do, you may end up shortchanged, right? And there needs to be a level of faith with that concept, the faith of equality, right? And just because you don't get whatever it is you need in return right away doesn't mean it won't come back to you. Okay, Eight of Swords can be a feeling of suffocation, can be a feeling of stress and tension in your life. And like I'm saying, like I feel like you guys are having this shift, but you don't quite know where you're going yet. But I think that path over the course of the next few weeks, and especially over the next few months, is going to become more and more defined and more clear. There's no really need for you to stress out too much. And I know you guys push yourself really hard. Leos are the ones, like I have lots of Leo friends, and they do work really hard. No matter, like, they just enjoy their work because they usually align with a work that they feel passionately connected with. And you might feel like all that effort and all that energy right now is without purpose, but it's not. You might feel like you are going unheard, but you're not. You may feel like you've been pushed in the corner. That's an illusion. Okay, I shared this with Cancer. In my weekly video that I did, I talked about a video that like a mentor of mine shared on her Facebook page. And I want to just kind of briefly summarize. It's from like a famous guru. I'm sorry, I cannot say his name. Nityananda. And I have my aligners in, so I probably can't even say it properly. But like, he's an Indian guru. And this little video clip, he said very simply, he says, there is no question, there is no answer. This idea you have of me, this idea you have of you, this idea you have of the world, it is all lies. And the reason why that's significant is we have to understand this concept of illusion in our life. Whatever problems, whatever relationship issues, whatever work issues, whatever sense of stagnation that we have, we need to understand that it is not real, but it is a figmentation of our imagination. Now, if we're in a bad relationship and we're terribly unhappy, we also need to give ourselves power to make choices, because a lot of times we choose to stay in situations like that. But it's also not real at the same time. Like, we have the power to say whether it's real or not. Another example of this, I was talking to another tarot card reader. She's on YouTube. I'm not going to say who it was, but she and I are very close. And she was talking about how she doesn't like to use the Rider-Waite tarot deck, or she's feeling very frustrated when she uses the Rider-Waite tarot deck because she feels it gives very heavy messages. And I told her, I was like, look, you cannot give the cards power. Like, you're the one that has the power. And if you're getting negative and dark messages, that's coming from you. It has nothing to do with the pictures on the cards. These are just pieces of paper with illustrations on them. The power is not here, it is within. And that's kind of an idea that maybe you can apply to a situation in your life. How much power are you giving a situation versus your own power? Right? The Empress. She's powerful, right? I love the Venus here. Venus has to do with our values, has to do with what we stand for, has to do with what we believe. It has to do with our romance, and romance being so closely connected with the sign of Leo. It has to do with how we enjoy life and how our significant others, you know, how they are and who they are. The Empress is full of resources. She is constantly giving. Right? And there is this essence of giving. There is this essence of resources. There is this essence of nourishment and having a lot of stuff, right? So, what does that mean? Let's see. Let's pull out a few more. That's you, by the way, for sure. I feel there's like this very royal. She is an empress. She is wearing a crown, right? It is very royal. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. She's got the 12 stars on her crown there. I had to count just to make sure. The 12 stars, right? The 12 stars representing the 12 signs of the zodiac. She is the divine, the representative of the divine feminine. The divine feminine that is the creator of the universe, right? The breath before the tone. The tone is the masculine. The breath that creates the tone is the feminine. You guys really need to realize how much power you have here. And if you're dealing with a specific situation and a specific person, don't let it control you. You might be feeling off. You might be feeling weird. You might be feeling like you're kind of in this weird place. It's an illusion. Okay? It's not. You are fully in control here, and you can create whatever kind of world you want to create. Well, we had a whole bunch of cards, but I'm just going to take the first one that came off. That's deck, the Moon. Another major arcana. Goes very, very well with the Eight of Swords, in that there is that kind of illusionary place. That sort of like, it exists, but it only exists because we allow it to exist. The Moon is just one step at a time, one step forward. There is fortune that comes with the Moon. The Moon does not misdirect you. It guides you very, very slowly and safely to your ultimate destination. So if you, like right now, I'm not seeing that any decisions are really needing to be made. I feel like you may have the sense of a choice, or you may be feeling like you have to choose something, but at the end of the day, you don't really need to make a choice. The answer, right, there are no questions, there are no answer. The path will be defined for you. Okay? So if you're unhappy and you need to make a change, just make the change. You will be cared for. You do have a safety net, okay? There's no reason to feel suffocated and to feel trapped and to feel like you can't do something, because that's just all in your mind. There's no need for you to think that, okay? Opportunities are going to present themselves. This is the epitome of a manifestation story. You're in need of something, you adjust your frequency to that, and then you get it, right? But you can also adjust your frequency to this, and you can achieve nothing, right? I'm afraid I won't have it. I'm afraid I won't have the money. I'm afraid of losing the love because I'm afraid I'll never have it again. And then you won't get it. Or you can say, look at how much I have. Look at how amazing my life is. Look at how abundant I am. Look at how beautiful I am. And look, here we have this amazing outcome, and here we have more. I mentioned this in another reading. I think there was this movie, and I don't even remember the movie, but I remember the title. I think it was, "Thank you, more please." Like, thank you, universe, I'll take some more of that. And I think that's kind of the attitude that you need to have, to look around you and see how abundant you actually are, to not be afraid to spend money, to not be afraid, I mean, wisely, of course, but to not be afraid of exerting energy and effort, because you know that it will come back to you. Death, your transformation, another major arcana, your transformation. And you are transforming right now with these eclipses, for sure. Your mindset and your outlook on life is becoming completely different. You are truly aligning with the royalty, right? The royalty that is associated with your sign. Apollo, the chariot of fire, right? The one that is responsible for the well-being of the entire world. And you are kind of coming into alignment with that. And you are accepting that responsibility. Now, I'm speaking obviously metaphorically and in very, very big concepts. Obviously, you by yourself are not responsible for everyone in your life, right? But I do see you leading by example. And Leos are the ones, you're so magnetic and charismatic anyway. And I do see you as the ones that once you start doing things, this is such a weird example and it's such an Aquarian theme to it, but I'll go ahead and use it. Like, you know, when there was that whole Going Green campaign across the country or across the world, especially in the United States, Go Green, everyone was going green, and we all had those reusable shopping bags, you know, like the canvas ones, which we still have, which I still use mine, but it's like when those were getting introduced, stop using plastic. It's like if your Leo friend was doing it, you're going to start doing it too. And that's kind of the more minuscule way, the more mundane, everyday life kind of way that I mean a lot of these concepts, okay? I know it's big stuff I'm kind of talking about. Knight of Pentacles. What is it that's holding you back? There's too much fear. There's nothing for you to be afraid of at all. Nothing, nothing, nothing. You are on a beautiful trajectory. You have, I mean, death is a beautiful card. There's sunlight in the back there. Sun is always going to be important for you because it is your ruling planet, right? It represents the new beginning, the phoenix rising from the ashes. And you know what the phoenix rises from the ashes from? I just learned this. The symbol of heaven and hell is like an eagle intertwining with a serpent, right? And it's like the war of heaven and hell, good and bad. And eventually the war becomes so bad that they just kind of implode together at the same time, and neither exists. And then they merge. Heaven and hell come together and they emerge as the phoenix. Did you guys know that? I feel like that, I don't know, maybe I heard that on a show I'm watching, a wisdom teaching show. And I was like, I guess I never really thought about what the phoenix, the ashes from the phoenix, where those ashes came from, right? But you are kind of rising from that internal battle, that internal struggle of your own duality, and kind of rising up as the phoenix, as merging of the two, right? And the recognition of the coexistence of the two, which in turn makes you more powerful, okay? Because right now, I'm feeling like you're having a very, very, very difficult time walking away from the past. You're having a very, very difficult time disconnecting and detaching, because you are so giving and you are so loving and you have this huge heart. Of course, you actually care about the people in your life, but you cannot let them or that situation stop you from your progress, okay? And I feel like there are people, remember what I was saying at the beginning, it's like you're dealing with people and you're seeing a whole bunch of walking zombies, like a whole bunch of people that have no idea who they are, because you have raised your vibration over the course of the past 6 months to a year. And that distinction is becoming painfully clear. And as much as you want to cling back, and I'll clarify both these in the comprehensive, as much as you want to cling back to the past, the universe is guiding you forward and you don't really have a choice, okay? So let's go ahead and cut the camera off. I'm going to, if you guys want to watch the comprehensive, clarify these two for sure, these two people for sure. You know, I think for those of you who don't have any desire to spend like 70 or 100 or 150 bucks on a private reading, these comprehensive, I've been getting such amazing feedback, and it just gives you more clarity into the situation. Now, in the comprehensive, I will talk more about these things in more mundane concepts. I don't know why this one became so high level, but I will talk about it more on everyday things. Obviously, this is a person or people in your life, and so we'll clarify who these are as well. So that's it. Thank you guys so much. Take care, and I will see you next month.